get some.
So I hope you guys are ready for some sea shanties and wet panties.
Oh
Yes.
my god. Oh my
Because
god.
we're gonna hoist another glass in pina colada berg, coconut milk with a pineapple splash. Don't forget that the rum comes third.
Fantastic. So, if you don't know, this episode is on vacation horror. Vacay forever.
Because
We're
you might
talking
get killed.
about it. We're talking about it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to talk about that one. Maybe we should talk about it first.
Well,
Spring break
before we talk about
forever.
Lord and Savior Britney
Spring break
Spears.
forever.
So before we talk about any movie, I have a
Seen it.
question. So I
What's up?
feel like a super nerd
You are?
because I am, but after watching a lot of vacation horrors, I've never been on a vacation. I'm not just talking about spring break. I'm talking about like tropical island or whatever. I'm like carefree, like sleep with whoever and drinks and fun and
I've
go
been on
into
one of
some
those
rando
vacations.
attraction. Have you guys done that? Have you guys done that?
No.
Some of that. Like,
Some of that kind of like
I've never gone
vacay
to
with the-
another country for a vacation. I've
I
gone to
Never?
like
I
other
know we're
states.
tropical.
I've gone camping. I've done a lot of camping trips. That's what I've done the most of. But they've always been in like the United States. Like Dulles, Georgia, I did a 4th of July weekend trip where we went four-wheeling all weekend and mudding.
That sounds fun.
So we stayed muddy and sweaty all weekend and drunk the whole time.
Sounds
So
like Wake and
fun.
Fright, which I'm talking about later. Minus the kangaroo death.
Minus any death. Nobody died.
Most
Nobody died.
seriously.
I have been on vacation where people have died.
Ooh, do tell.
I'm not gonna.
We're gonna
I'm not-
we're,
okay.
save it and embellish it for our ghost story tea.
Okay. I'll save it for that. So you guys can come back and listen to it when I went on vacation and there was a dead body.
What? Whoa.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw a
Listen,
ghost on a vacation. I did. The only
Pretty
time
much
in
the
my
same
life
thing.
where it was like I like it looked like a real. Oh, it was either a. I am so clear that I saw this person. It was either a ghost or a Civil War reenactor broke into our room. The ghost is the less scarier story. I'm not kidding. That is not a joke. It sounds like a joke, but it's so true.
No, I actually understand.
Same ghost that had sex with my grandmother, apparently. The whole story. It's the
Oh.
whole thing. It's
I'm excited to hear that story.
it sounds more exciting talking about it, but
Yeah, I've been out of the country, but just to the United States because I'm from Canada. So I've been to like California and down the whole West Coast and stuff, but I've never been to like a fancy. What do you call that? Like the sandy beaches with the blue waters and the palm trees.
Tropical.
I've never tropical.
We're
A lot
probably
of
going
these-
on one soon because my mom lives in Belize now, and I'm gonna go visit her. But
There, yeah.
does that
That'd be-
even count as like a vacation? It does for
Yes.
me. She lives
No, it
there, so
totally
it's not like I'm
does.
going to
Yeah.
abroad. I don't know.
movies center usually around younger folks a lot of the time, so it's usually these.
Not
it's
us
not
old
just like that
35ers.
it's tropical. It's just that I don't mean it that way. Centers around people that are in their teens, late teens, early 20s. Okay, and so it's a vacation with the boys or a vacation with the girlies, kind of.
Gotcha.
Or sometimes
Yeah.
it's a mixed co-ed friend. So
Man,
we wanted to
yeah.
talk about spring break, talking about young people
Spring
on
break forever.
I think that is the fastest. You and I have immediately said we loved a movie together, Justine. We're like,
That
"Yes,
is so
love that movie."
true. The thing to bind us, Spring Breakers.
Spring Breakers.
And I haven't even seen it.
What are the
That's
chances?
our fault. I thought of it last minute. We have a
morning.
certain amount of time. We try to watch the same amount of movies, or where one of us watches the movie and talks about it briefly. And I
Mhm.
thought of it today. I'm like, how did I not think of it sooner?
Yeah,
it is the
that's
second
okay.
film that A24 has distributed, and it was the first one I watched. Justine, that's where you say that's the first one you watched too.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was fixing my chair. Yeah, it's the first A24 that I watched as well.
I watched Spring Breakers. I knew that Harmony Korine had done Gummo. I didn't really have any high expectation or low. But I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it. But I immediately thought, I'm either dumb, the movie's dumb, or I just didn't get it. And the second time I watched it, I fell in love with this movie.
Same. I fell in love with it the first time I watched it because I love to be caught off guard. And I went into this movie thinking it was going to be some like teen movie trash.
Yeah.
I
To be fair,
waited a
guys, this is like
long time.
2012. Like
2012, yeah.
to watch an A24 distributed film didn't mean anything back then. This is their second film they distributed, so it
Yeah.
wasn't an established brand at this time.
So is
And
this
I
a horror
just
movie?
It is.
kind of.
There's a lot of
It depends.
violence.
There is a lot of violence. To me, it's more of a. It feels like a
you
pop
watched a
thriller.
perfect
That's how I
getaway for
would
this
describe
episode.
it.
It's
Is
like
a
a
pop.
perfect different
Oh, how to
movies.
set this film as a genre because
It's its own thing.
it is its own thing. I wish that there were more movies that I could call pop thrillers because it is
It's a
so
commentary on pop
catchy.
culture.
It is.
There's people that don't like this movie, totally get that. But then there's people that just don't get it and they
Mhm.
don't understand the difference between not liking and not getting it.
Not to
Because
sound pretentious, but I do think some people miss the point for sure.
Selena Gomez is in this movie, Crystal.
Oh.
We think that she's going to be our main character. There's a lot of Disney stars in this, but it's
Oh yeah,
which is
Vanessa
why part of the-
Hudgens.
it's
James
part of why it was
Franco's in it.
controversial because it's like
What?
they're in bikinis and it's like very
Their
violent.
first
It's
adult films. This is the first
Interesting.
film that Selena Gomez did that wasn't like a Disney film, isn't it?
I don't know for sure, but that sounds right.
I remember it being really like controversial when she did this movie.
Especially
Like,
her.
Oh.
She plays
Yeah.
our innocent character. These girls rob a place to be able to afford to go to Florida on spring break. There's only 2 of 4 that go do the robbery. Maybe it's 3. Is it 3? It's the blondes. And
Yeah.
we see the robbery and it's pretty cut and dry. They have guns and they give us the money. They have balaclavas on and they get the money right away. But they make it sound like this epic when they're telling Selena Gomez about it. Like, yeah, and then he did this and they did this. And we see what they describe.
And they're teenagers.
They're teenagers
Okay.
and like they're freshmen in college. And
Yeah.
so I think the thing that I most attribute with this film, the whole meaning of it, wraps up of Clockwork Orange, the book. Anthony Burgess' book originally had 21 chapters. And when it was first published, they removed the 21st chapter, the 21 symbolizing that the main character, Alex, all this violence and everything in him is something he outgrows. It's something that gets out of him. But the Kubrick film does the version that only has the 20 chapters, that he's this rotten person forever.
Gotcha.
Selena Gomez seems like she's our main character, and then she leaves the movie.
Yeah, she just goes
And there's
home.
these other 2 females that really get involved with all the violence.
Candy
stuff.
and Britt and Cotty stay.
Yeah, and it's the 2 because the other one gets injured and then leaves. It's kind of like the Alex
Towards
in
the
this.
end, very end, yeah.
And they talk, and then they do this
Interesting.
narration at the end. It's like this epic.
Oh,
That
yeah,
What?
the narration stuff is what I find really cool about this movie is there's like a repeating kind of narrative that almost feels like a background song that happens throughout the movie without music. Like the spring break forever. Like they're just constantly talking and repeating some of the same phrases throughout the film, but the situation that it's repeating in has changed dramatically since the first time you hear some of that narration. So like in the
Okay.
beginning, you hear him like talking about, oh, these girls are so pretty. He gets them like out of jail, and he's like a local like trashy like criminal.
He's a drug dealer that thinks he's a big deal, played by James Franco, who's playing himself with a
Wearing like
grill and
braids,
cornrows,
cornrows, and like a
and
grill.
grill,
Oh,
and like
good.
never wears a shirt. And he's like, "Look at my shit. This is my shit." Like James
Oh,
Franco's kind of playing
Yeah,
himself.
that stuff is
It's
so cool. And the way, oh, literally, like one of my favorite things about it is the fact that there are so many people from the early 2000s that were like this, but had
Yeah.
literally no reason to act like criminals because they never actually were criminals. And I still see this happening where
they
like
just played a lot of Grand Theft Auto. I want to say hi to
privileged white
Optimisty, who's
boys
my
want to
friend.
pretend to be like gangsters and you
My
want to
friend
adopt. There's a lot of that cultural appropriation. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot
it's
of
so
that.
lame. It's so
And
lame.
it is so lame. And like this film felt like it was making fun of that, but the way that it ends and these girls, it turns it into a completely different movie that you did not expect. And the way that they turn out to be like psychos.
I think the end, it's to me because it's an ending that is left up to your interpretation whether it actually happens or not. In my thinking is it's like the robbery at the beginning. It actually happens, but not in the way that we see it. We just see their point of view. Because another clue to that is when they get arrested and them being in jail. That's before Selena Gomez decides to leave. The movie tone is totally different. And another part of this movie that really adds to the atmosphere is the cinematographer.
Yeah.
Benoit Debie, who he usually works with Gaspar Noé. How do you say that? Noé? The guy
Noir.
that did Climax and The Void, like all those trippy
Mhm.
pieces. A really good cinematographer. He really gets into the atmosphere. And Crystal, you'll probably be happy to hear this. I actually don't have no idea. I just know that the usual reaction to this is there's a lot of Skrillex dumpstep in the soundtrack.
Oh yeah. It's
Whoa.
very
But it's
2012.
fitting. It's
Very
very
2012.
2012. But a lot of Britney Spears, like that's my favorite scene when
See my
something.
socks. I'm gonna play this song.
That's one of
I'll
my
play
favorite
some of the
Britney Spears
greatest
songs.
pop star of all time, the greatest musician of all time. A
If
little
there
ditty
ever was
from
an angel
Britney
on this
Spears.
earth, Britney Spears. And then they
I
start
like how
playing
you think
Britney
I'd be
Spears.
interested in
It's
this.
a really good movie.
I think Crystal, you would like this movie. I don't know. I don't know.
Sounds like I probably would. Yeah.
I
just
feel
very
like
good.
with our setup and marketing of it, you're probably gonna like it. I think
Yeah.
it did have kind of like Jennifer's Body. It had some poor marketing.
Oh,
Although I don't know how they could have marketed this without it being a good surprise. And it was a
fair
surprise.
enough.
It's
So
a vibe. The movie, that's the thing.
it's a
It's a movie
vibe.
that's a vibe. And how do you market a movie that's a vibe?
If
Although
I
this,
ever threw a big party at my house, this movie would be on the big screen, just playing.
But okay, I'll
Just
definitely
playing.
watch it.
no, you'll like. It's very good, and I
will not
love.
get
That's
the
one of my
joke.
favorite. This is serious, Justine.
I'm sorry.
Every time is one of my favorite Britney Spears songs. I remember it was a big deal when the music video came out. That's the one where she kills herself with the thing falling in her tub, and they had to MTV had to edit it out. Big
Lucky?
deal.
Oh yeah.
No, every time,
Oh, every time. Gotcha. Yeah.
which came out the same time. It was the same album. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same.
Lucky was my jam when Lucky came out.
It's the same album.
I love them all.
She
Britney is
loves
She
her.
cried. We know we can't sing. We know that's why we do because
After a while, I do forget we're live on Twitch, so I am
Yeah.
sorry.
So I just want to mention briefly because I was the only one that watched it recently because it fits into the spring break mood was Club Dread by
Another film that's just bonding us, Emma.
Also did not watch.
I'm sorry, Krista. I was so late sending in my movies.
I didn't watch a lot of these, to be fair. I didn't watch.
But
I made an announcement for this one, Emma, so you don't have to apologize. Crystal's just slacking. It's okay.
No, I was whoa.
She's busy watching shark movies for 2 weeks.
You did watch a lot of shark
I
movies.
did watch a lot of shark movies.
If you're in our Discord, you see the announcements of what movies we've watched. So even if we don't tell you what movie the theme or our next episode is, you'll know. Or
You'll probably gather.
Yeah.
I am so
But
hot in the studio today. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, the towel's out already.
For a
But
whole
it's not for
different
tears.
reason.
For different tiers.
I
Yeah.
feel like my office is like way hotter today. I'm like,
Mine is too. It's
very humid where I
here.
am.
Yeah.
We're all
okay, I
different
got like
areas,
a
so
sweat stash.
I can't see it.
Mine's not that bad.
It's just a shiny lip. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So Club Dread, a very serious film by the comedy club Broken Lizard. Most people would know Super Troopers. That's probably their most popular movie. Club Dread it's basically a parody on the slasher. It takes place at a resort, and Coconut Pete, played by Bill Paxton, is amazing. That's my intro. Is one of Coconut.
I love
Pete's
him
hits.
so much. Like, if anything's gonna sell people to watch this movie, it's Bill Paxton.
It's
That
Coconut
would be-
Pete.
I wish I had time because I love Bill Paxton and I would have watched this if I had the time.
Oh my
Oddly
god.
enough, Bill Paxton's character is the Jimmy Buffett version of James Franco's character in Spring Breakers.
Totally. That is so accurate. Yeah, totally. He is. He definitely. Like,
Perfect.
One of my favorite jokes in the whole thing, which I said to the ladies already, is we killed everyone with a machete. And from then on, Phil Coletti was known as Machete Phil. And they just don't make a big deal of it. It's just one Machete Coletti is so easily there. It's there. I don't know. It's so dumb, but it feels like
But
that's
it's
something
so
that happens.
I get it. Okay, I have to see the movie, I think, to fully understand where that. But I got it. It was like the third time I've heard you say
They're telling
this.
a spooky story around the campfire. It's just oh my god.
oh, Machete Colette.
So there are two other movies that Crystal you did watch that is on our
Yeah, I
list.
did watch some here. I did watch
that
some.
are that feel like very similar to me.
wait,
Were
wait,
Costello
wait,
and
wait, wait.
Teresa's. Oh yes, okay.
Just
One
easy to
last
watch.
thing about Broken Lizard Club Dread. If you liked Super Troopers and you like horror comedies, watch Broken Lizard Club Dread because it is like Scooby Doo
It's very
Monster
Scooby-Doo, but a
Island
little dirty.
for
It's a
adults.
dirty Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, dirty Scooby Doo had a baby with Super Troopers.
Had a baby.
Had a baby.
We're bringing our Moira Roses
A
out.
baby.
With Super Troopers.
I love everything Catherine O'Hara does.
Me too.
Everything she
She's
does
so
is gold.
fantastic.
Anytime I
love her.
try to do an accent seriously, I sound like her unironically.
Like your New Zealand accent just sounds like Moira Rose.
It does. My default accent is Moira on accident.
I love that.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, go back and watch any of our episodes where I try an accent and you'll hear Moira first. And then you'll hear me slowly tune it.
Are we moving on to Hostel and Touristas, which I thought were two
Yes.
separate movies?
Oh, yeah.
Crystal, why don't you lead us? Crystal, lead us with either one.
Let's go with Touristas because I
Candies.
love that one.
I'm trying to get her go. I'm sorry.
I need more time next time to watch more movies.
You watched a lot
Yeah.
though. You watched a lot.
I got a few in, but I only had a couple.
Justine watched a lot. Like she
I took
stopped.
one.
She
Yeah.
ended Sharks early and got a
Justine
lot
packed
in.
him in there.
I
Packed
did.
him.
And I
This
was-
is
I had an
probably my
exam.
favorite, besides
Yeah.
vampires, that we've done. One of my favorite categories. And Into the Woods. The Into the Woods and Vacay were super easy to find good movies on.
This is my 5th seltzer.
You're getting crazy.
It's like
Girl.
crazy.
Slow down.
Wow, girl, you crazy. You crazy, girl.
Crazy
Crazy.
girl.
Oh, TikTok.
Yeah,
I've got
I
a
quote it
case.
consistently.
This
Is that
my
flavor?
second year. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's cranberry lime sparkling seltzer water.
Oh, gross. I don't like flavored water. I'm not a
It's
fan.
very- So Hostel and Touristas.
Yeah,
Teresa's.
if you haven't watched Touristas and you want to watch a movie that makes you feel very claustrophobic, go watch it right now because
Oh my god, they
Oh
were
my God.
insane.
There's
that
a lot
whole
of moments,
underwater-
yeah.
when oh my god when they're diving under the water and they're just under there for ages, like trying to get to the next air pocket. Oh my god, I can't with that movie. It
Yeah.
ruins me. It's
It
intense.
reminded me of that 47 meters uncaged moment because they do that too.
Oh my god, that movie!
Yeah.
I didn't watch that movie last week. Now I'm
That's true. You
punished
didn't.
again.
There's no sharks in this one.
No,
But is
no
Matthew
shark.
Modine in it? No, I
No
watched it.
Matthew
Matthew
Modine.
Modine
No,
is not in it. I
but
watched
Timothy
it.
Oliphant is, and
No, he's not in Touristas. He's in Perfect
not
Getaway.
Timothy Oliphant. Sorry,
It's Josh Duhamel.
Josh
Duhamel?
Duhamel. Yeah,
Duhamel?
Duhamel.
Dude,
I don't know how to say his
Josh-
name.
I don't even know who he is. Which one is he?
He's
Rocks. I heard
don't
that.
even know
I
what
heard
else
the
his
Rocks.
name, to be
We
honest.
heard the Rocks.
Yeah, Duhamel.
I think it's pronounced Dumal or something.
Dumel.
Dumal. I
Dumel?
think it's like you blend
Josh
them.
Dumel.
We'll go with that. Sam.
Yes.
Semillon.
Okay, so there's 3 people that look exactly the same. There's Josh Dumel,
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant, and another guy. They look exactly the same.
I think Timothy Oliphant is way more attractive than all of them.
He is, but we also
Which
watched the
ones
movie
are
with him in
they?
it.
I can't.
We'll talk about him shortly when we get to Perfect Getaway because he's in that.
But
That's
it also
Timothy
has
Oliphant.
Which one
Melissa
is he in Perfect
George.
Getaway? Is he
Melissa
one of the
George,
couple
Olivia
dudes?
Wilde. Yeah,
He's, like,
he's the main
crazy.
guy, the cool
Mila
guy.
Jovovich is this
N-
guy?
no.
Or the other guy?
The other guy.
He's the guy
Oh,
they
okay.
meet.
I know him. Is he in stuff anymore?
He was
He
in
was in,
Justified. That show was
In
great.
Santa Clarita Diet.
And the Clarita
Um,
Diet, yeah.
Is that a Justin Timberlake show? Justified?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was like, what? I get it.
That was an album, wasn't it?
That
Justified,
was a pop
wasn't it?
culture
Whoa.
reference that went right over my head. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
That's what I think of when I think of Justified. That was a sexy back. Wasn't that Justified?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're right. I'm sorry.
I
It just
don't
went
know.
over
I
my
don't
head.
know. I was
Um,
listening to Britney. I was on Team Britney, so I didn't have that album.
Yes. So Teresa's has Josh too.
Are you okay?
And Melissa George and Olivia Wilde. And they are
Yeah.
all gorgeous. Very gorgeous.
Melissa George is like extra beautiful in this.
I feel like there was a certain 5-10 years in the late 2006-ish to 2015 where like vacation horror was the thing. Because
the
that's when we were
rage,
getting
yeah.
like Hostel, Terestas, The Ruins, Spring Breakers.
The Ruin was a little later, wasn't it? Wasn't that
2008.
Like 2017?
It was 2002. I was gonna say if Cabin Fever came after The Ruins, that would have just blown my mind. right out because
Mhm.
the ruins is so similar. There are moments that are the same as Cabin Fever, where she's like cutting into her leg. Tell me that's not the same as the girl like cutting into her leg with the
For some
razor, or
reason,
the
Cabin
girl
Fever was a
tearing
bit
her like
rougher.
off. It was rougher. It was, but you could tell like there were moments. I don't know, same vibe, just different location to me.
Down the Sun can't wait for our album to come out. Let Us In sings the classics. Then
We really
we
should
just
start
want
a
to let
band. I've
ladies
been
know
saying
what
this
us
for
guys
weeks.
talk about.
Trying to
If I
convince them.
stop encouraging Crystal because that's all she wants is for us to start a band.
I swear, I think we would be a really good band.
I'm an okay guitarist, and you play guitar
And
and
I
piano.
play nothing.
Yeah.
That's why you're our
I can't play
singer.
both.
I
We're the
can't
Hex
even play my
Girls, the
vocal
Hex-
cords. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just take lessons.
Just take lessons. Yeah.
Learn how to play something.
Just
Be a bassist.
just be a singer.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry. We have
No, it's
so
not-
many movies to talk about too. This is
Yeah.
actually a pretty like, beefed up movie list. Therese
Honest-
does. So Therese does has a little xenophobia going on. The whole like black market organ donor thing. However, kind of like
Right.
it in this regard just because it gives me that like, Americans are colonizing and trashing our like backyard. So we're going to take back. And by taking back, they mean like their organs so that they can help the locals with their needs for
Yeah.
organs and life-saving needs. And so they take
Yeah.
it from me, the tourists, not just Americans, but like British too.
Yeah.
But basically the ones that are literally just like the tourist industry again is just cramping things, ruining shit. They're like, oh, we're gonna just take your kidney in payment.
But I thought that guy that was their
Reparation
tour
for-
guide that
Hold on.
brought them
per
into
se.
the caves was cute. He was cute.
He was, and he ended up being
Oh,
like sweet
yeah.
and good, right?
He was, yeah.
But I was with you, Crystal. Art in the caves. Because all I can
Ooh.
picture is I'm underwater and then I go up to the surface and it's not close. There's no space for me to get
Yeah.
air and I just die.
Nightmare. And they're literally
not even
depending
supposed
on
to be
this
that
stranger.
scary.
No, it's supposed to be like an
depending on this
intense.
guy.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I hate
gory.
it.
Pretty gory.
This is where exposition does really well, where they have this guy who's providing exposition, but he's doing so and telling a story while committing the crime in a way that is, it gives me like Hannibal Lecter vibes. This surgeon literally taking her organs out of her and removing them and saving them and
She's kind
getting
of
them ready
awake.
for
It's really
transport.
upsetting.
Yeah, she's
And
awake.
her friend
He's
is
got her like
watching.
numb.
I
And
know.
her friend is like completely paralyzed and watching. Yeah. And he's literally explaining why he does what he does. It's almost like he's trying to convince himself and justify these crimes while committing them, but doing so in a very medical way, like sterile, serious, emotionless delivery.
Kind of like Hostel. It
Yeah.
felt like a cousin of Hostel.
Yeah, except
Yeah.
for again, like it's medical. It doesn't feel like he has like any real malice, except for if you really listen to what he's saying. If you listen to what he's
paying
talking
to
about,
torture people.
yeah, like he's not, it doesn't feel like when you're watching and listening to him, like he's taking any joy out of it. He is
Mhm.
almost like he's justifying it and convincing himself while he's telling you what's happening. And for me, that type of exposition works. Sometimes I think it's like stupid. Did you have to explain that? We're not that dumb. Sometimes
Like the
it
James
feels
Bond villain
really out of
explaining
place.
what he's doing.
Yeah, like why are you explaining this right now of all times?
Dr.
You're gonna tell us your
Evil.
life story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like really out of place. But in this film, I think they got it right, and that's why I like this movie so much. But unlike movies like Green Inferno,
Which is just a watered down, lesser version, missing the message of Cannibal Holocaust.
yeah,
Sure,
I
which is
have
actually
a
a
lot of
good
thoughts
movie.
about Green Inferno. I actually enjoy Green Inferno.
It's not as good as Cannibal Holocaust, and
I-
usually that's an edgelord saying cannibal. But Green Inferno is inspired.
Maybe that should be our
by-
gatekeeper bit.
Maybe, but Green Inferno is supposed to be an ode to Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal
Yeah,
Ferox.
yeah.
But they missed the message because there actually is a message to Cannibal Holocaust of
I got
it's more-
messages
from Cannibal Holocaust.
from Green Inferno.
Yeah, because he didn't do it well enough. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I like Eli Roth, but he almost always, for me, Hostel included, just misses that mark when it comes to me.
He
Just,
always misses the mark.
I used to hate his movies because I felt like the plot lacked and there wasn't a good enough reasoning. But now I love
Yeah.
them.
the thing with Hostel is
become a
to prove that
torture
the
porn
Americans
queen.
are supposed to be like the bad dudes, but they're not. Even though they tell these really homophobic, dumb jokes and all this, and they don't treat women well, but we still have the narrative following these characters that they are the main characters. They are some sort of hero, but also that the fact that he's could take place anyway. That's the point. But then why did you choose Eastern Europe, where there's a lot of stereotypes that these sorts of things happen in Eastern Europe? Why didn't it
Oh,
take place?
Hostel. We're talking about Hostel. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Switch, but we can switch
It's
back.
okay. No, you're literally interchangeable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
honestly, yeah.
But why didn't you pick France? But Germany has the Nazi Association, which isn't bad, but you don't if you don't want to get it muddled. Belgium, Switzerland, Sweden, all these
Mhm.
places that this could have taken place, which I think would have even been a better message because I think a lot of Northern Europeans and Americans think those are safe countries, right? Things like that
Mm.
don't happen in France, and they don't happen in. I don't know why I did quotation marks with France, like it's not a real place. France, like it exists.
They kind of address that in the second one, right? Because they are in Rome or France, and they're literally like taken from that safe location.
Just rewatch the second one. I haven't seen it in a
I
while.
think in the first one too, they're drawn to Eastern Europe, right? Like they didn't intend to go there.
So
In
this is
both
an
ones, they
important
didn't
In
question.
intend to.
Amsterdam,
No,
but then
this
they
is
got
an
drawn by the
important question.
beautiful women.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is an important question about that, Crystal. You are
Yeah.
my wavelength, okay? Super important question. So they're in
How can I be
Amsterdam,
a
right?
wavelength?
You are too.
I'm just
Christine,
kidding.
but in that moment, same wavelength.
I am.
Okay.
right at the moment.
We're channeling
because
Crystal. Got it.
This is like an important question that I know she wants to know. So they're in Amsterdam, right? There's girls there. They're getting high. They're partying, and they go to a brothel and have what you do there. Typical. They pay the lady, and she's hot.
The ones that were fine with that, yeah.
Yeah, she's hot and everything. There was one guy that was apprehensive of
Yeah.
the three of four. Basically, talk to this guy that they're buying weed from or something. I don't know. They're buying something like that from him. It's like, oh no, you got. They're like, oh, we're going to Italy next. He's like, you got to go to Slovakia. The girls there do anything. The girls will do anything. And then later on, they do go to Slovakia, and two of the guys have had just. When we see a lot of it, just kind of regular, not bad, but like regular sex with these guys. I'm like, what is this anything special thing that these? It's like, why did they have to go to Slovakia for that? Anything. They could have done that anywhere. There was no.
Of all places, Amsterdam is like historically for that, the register.
Yeah, like why did they have to go to Slovakia? And then they were like satisfied. They're like, because the two girls that these two guys have sex with go and take a shower together, and they're like, Slovakian girls. I'm like, that was it.
Well,
That's
one
like
dude
the
didn't want
big
to
thing.
pay for it. The guy that was getting married, this was like their stag trip. And
Which
the
one
one
was
guy
getting
who
the
was getting
writer?
married did not want to pay for it. And so this was their like way to get him
I
to
didn't think it
sleep
was
with
that he
other
didn't want to pay
women.
for it. It just seemed like too dangerous to him. Scary, dangerous. I don't know, Crystal. What do you think?
I don't even remember a guy was getting married. I just watched
I don't
it.
remember. I remember there was the apprehensive guy. He was a writer, but I don't remember him getting married. He was getting
Yeah, I
married.
don't
They
remember
like
either.
just
He had a
mentioned it, right?
fiance. Yeah, he said he had a fiance.
I must have
Yeah.
glazed right past that.
And then there's
Yeah.
like
He
kind of
didn't
the
act like
main
it.
character who they're all douchey guys. Like
I
They're
hate
supposed
all
to
of
be.
them.
Yeah, I hate all of them. And yeah,
Like a
are
lot of
supposed
gay
to be.
jokes.
My biggest problem with this movie is that there's some redemption for this character. Like we're supposed to root for them at any point in the movie. And I was like, hell yeah, when they started getting murdered.
Yeah.
To me, there's moments where I have conflict with Eli Roth because I'm thinking, man, did he write this movie for women? Because this is great. And then towards the end, I'm like,
True.
why'd you save him? But then it ends, and then we get the beginning of Hostel 2, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
You're forgiven.
Redemption.
Biggest
And Hostel
Eli
2 is
Roth
my
thinks
favorite.
he's like Eli Roth. He was recently a guest last
I
year.
like him too.
Yeah, I like Eli Roth. Listening to him talk about movies more than I like his
Yeah.
movies, even though they're good enough. He was a guest host on Joe Bob Briggs last year. Take a drink. I mentioned it, and he was very thought out. But I saw it's an old interview, to be fair, but I saw an old interview of Eli Roth. He's like, yeah, they were treating women badly and like hookers, and then they become the hookers. But it's like he's trying to get there. It's not that bad. It's just like he's close.
Oh, and you
like,
feel
not
it because,
there.
like I said, there's moments like through, I'd say 3/4 of the film, I feel like I get it, and I'm like, thank you, Eli. This is great. I'm
And
enjoying
then
the shit
there'll be
out
like
of
a
this.
really
Yeah.
awful thing in it that's like you
Yeah,
missed it.
and
You missed it. You had me, and now you lost it.
You had me, and then you lost me. But I feel like he made up for it with Hostel 2. Hostel 2 worked for me. I
agree.
loved Hostel 2. I loved it.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I agree. It's a lot more fun, and for one, the characters are so much better in Hostel 2. Like, you actually like care about them, and you do hope that they get through it. Whereas the first one, I wanted them all to die. I hated every
Well,
single
we
one.
have
yeah, and
female leads in Hostel,
we
but
do. And we also have
Yeah,
two antagonists that don't feel like antagonists right away. And I love that we
yeah,
got the perspective of the people who are like the patrons of this establishment.
exactly. I liked seeing that
So
too.
smart. And then there is a twist with those two characters that I found
Yeah,
so good
it
because
worked
to
very
me,
well.
oh yeah, I feel like that's what's insane to me sometimes is there's a few movies once in a while that we get that I'm like, how many women helped with this film? Because I feel like Hostel 2 had some women behind it who were like,
Yeah,
this is perfect. Because the nice guy is not the nice guy. And I
yeah,
love that because that's so accurate. It gives me like Promising Woman, where the nice guy is not the nice guy. And like,
exactly.
and that is, I think, one of the most powerful things you can do to a character in a film that speaks
Yeah.
to women, especially when you have the woman at the end up
Hmm.
like being a little bad. She
Yeah.
turns a little bad.
because
And
she
I
joins the
love
elite hunting
that.
club, right? That's what they're
Yeah.
called. Like
Oh
She's
yeah,
like, oh,
she just
so this
chops
is
his
a
wiener
man's
off.
world, but money is really the driver here. I have
Yeah,
money, and this pathetic
yeah,
man does not. What gave him the
yeah.
right to kill me? She uses her power against him and puts him, literally cuts his dick off, which is
I do
he can
not
Literally.
remember that. I
just
remember
leave him
her
there. He'll
joining the
bleed
club,
out.
but I don't remember that part.
Well, she cuts his
She was
penis off
let
because
him.
she murders somebody. She has to kill
Yeah.
somebody. They won't let them
I
leave
remember
if they don't
that, but
commit
I
a
didn't remember
crime.
that particular part. I remember
Oh
that in
yeah.
Antichrist.
They like come in and she's got
Oh,
the big old shears on his dick.
and then she feeds it to the dog.
And she literally cuts
How
it
did
off,
how did
grabs
I
it, and
forget that?
tosses it to the dog on her
Oh
way
yeah,
out. Oh, it's
yeah.
so powerful. Like it's my
It
favorite.
is.
Oh, I love it.
It's very good.
No wonder
And
why
those
so many
those
people hate
two.
that movie, like
I,
Antichrist.
exactly, exactly. All
I,
of the
I
guys watching that movie, they're like, "Oh, Hostel too stupid," and all the
and
girls are like,
Antichrist are like, you know what? No good.
I feel like
"Yeah,
he hits it out of the park with the second one. And
that
I
one I
swear
agree."
there's women on board with that who like had to have assisted with writing or something. I don't know. Eli Roth, this is what's strange to me because it seems like sometimes Eli Roth is in the room with the right people, but doesn't always take their advice. And sometimes he does. That's what it seems like to me. Like he's listening to the right people, and sometimes he makes the right choices, and sometimes he doesn't. And I think in Hostel
Mhm.
2, he made the right choices. In Green Inferno, he almost did, but
No, he was
it's
farther
just
away with
tough.
that one. Further away from the mark than in Hostel, I think.
I feel like Green Inferno had a lot of different storylines that just
Mhm.
felt a little all over the place. Like they were trying to do too many messages. And for me, like just the idea of some like self-righteous college kids getting it like from a tribe that they were trying to save could have
Mhm.
been enough, especially with the way that it ended with her and how
But
like
that's a
it
little
turned.
white savior, isn't it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like at the end, when she survives and she like tries to get away and like also at the same time like stops them from shooting them, that comes across white savior. But when she found out like the dude was actually part of the corporation trying to like the competing corporation or whatever,
The guy in the cage.
yeah, the guy in the cage that she like left
Yeah,
to die.
yeah,
Like when she found that out, I feel like it wasn't so much white savior anymore. I don't know. I feel
I
like
didn't.
she felt some it seemed to me like her character started to feel like they did, like she was used. And like
Mhm.
suddenly she had much more of an understanding of that. And so at the end, she decided not to condemn them and instead just leave and go back to her life and leave it be.
Yeah, because she didn't throw them under the bus at all. She was like, "No, they
No.
saved us. They helped
And
us."
she
Like,
even said that there was no cannibalism, like
exactly.
and I feel like there is the white saviorness in it is actually from the guy that was utilizing white saviorship to, like, make money. He was a
Yeah.
tool in the grand scheme of capitalism and colonialization, right? Colonialization, is that a word?
Sounds like a word.
Colonization.
Colonialism?
Colonialism?
That's it. That's it.
Colonialization.
I would have
Uh,
run with it.
it felt like to me that she was gaining perspective. What I don't like is this idea that people should have to gain perspective through things happening to them to understand other people's hardships. That bothers me. The idea that
Realization through trauma.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I hate that so much that I hate when people have to be taught something only after they've experienced a sliver of it. Like that to me makes you a shitty person. So at the end, I didn't like her still. Oh, so you had to experience being used to understand what it's like to be used. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's where he was trying to go with it. But again, it felt like a lot of stories, a lot of different competing like self-righteousness. Like,
Yeah.
For
no,
Cannibal Holocaust, like the message felt like don't exploit people to get ratings and their customs, even if they're violent, and just leave people alone. Leave
yeah.
them alone. Leave them alone. Just,
Yeah.
just no.
I feel like at the end, that's the spirit of what happened with her. She was just like, yeah, no, I was used. They were used. We were all used. Let's leave them alone.
Yeah.
And because she survived, she decided to use her fame as like the senator's daughter or whatever, or the UN daughter, the daughter of the UN guy, to not throw them under the bus and further the agenda that they can be exploited and
Yeah.
used it to save them. Cool. That's where the white savior complex comes in that you were
Yeah.
talking about, Emma.
Yeah.
But I'm trying.
Gotta leave people alone, man. Let people do
Trying.
their thing. It's not our
So
job.
I do that she does something about it in the end. I would not have been on camera after that though. But what else is she supposed to do?
What did you think of her decisions, Crystal? You watched it. I didn't. I
Yeah,
can't
I
say.
agree. I agree with Justine fully. I like how she didn't throw them under the bus at the end. I don't know. It just that resonated with me a little bit, but I don't know. That
Mhm.
again, it's just with Eli Roth.
Oh, the female genital mutilation thing was another storyline that they brought into that.
Yeah, that was a whole other thing that I
That didn't need to be there.
it felt like it was tacked on a little bit, yeah. Like it was
To like get you to think that she was not gonna like them because that was like her whole shtick in college.
I feel like
Yeah.
in the early 2000s, because it was like anti-Muslim propaganda, like even though it's something
It
that
was
does
with
happen,
xenophobia.
that there was a lot of news about it. I remember in high school hearing a lot about that. So I feel like it was
Mhm.
topic of the time,
I
right?
don't think it happens in South America though. Like,
No, but
I would have to
they
look
didn't
that up.
say
I
that.
don't know. I've never heard of female genital mutilation happening in tribes in South America.
But my point
I'm
is
not
that
sure.
they just feel like it was a topic of the time.
Yeah, oh, I agree with you. I do. I think that's exactly how it ended up in the movie, but it bothers me because
I've never heard of it there either.
I've never heard of it. I've heard of it. I can't even tell you where I've heard of it that's accurate.
Yeah, I have no idea either.
Because most of the time that I have heard of it, it was typically with some sort of underlying motivation that just doesn't make it feel as accurate.
I had
So
to research it. I really don't know.
it bothers me, like, I have no frame of reference. I've never thought to look into it enough to research it, like you said, Emma. So I wouldn't know where it happens, how widespread it is, but I'm pretty sure I've
Yeah.
never heard about it happening in South America. And anytime I have heard of it, I feel like there was a different motivation to be talking about it that makes it a little less of a reliable source. So let's not
Yeah.
talk about female genital mutilation.
So let's talk about some masculine things. I want to.
Masculinity.
Let's get sweaty and dusty because we're in Australia.
wake
We're in
and
the
fight.
Yabba. We're in the Yabba, mate. I watched a movie for the first time for this episode, and it's called Wake and Fright from
Not to be
1971.
confused with Mad Max.
It's not like Mad Max at all. Besides the fact
No.
that it's very Australian, but not like
Not Crocodile Dundee.
Not
However,
Crocodile Dundee.
there is a character in there that is from Crocodile Dundee.
The more I think about this movie, the more I just love
Found
it.
it. Chips Rafferty, played by Jock Crawford. Or Jock Crawford, played by Chips Rafferty.
That's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, he was in Crocodile Dundee.
Fright was lost to time for a long time because it didn't do well in the States. It did well in France, and it won the Cannes Palme d'Or, that award that Titane won. Also, it didn't do well in the States. A lot of it is because there's a very long kangaroo scene that's very upsetting, and it's also a vibe. It's one of it's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a very hot, sweaty, dirty. You feel like you have to take your shoes off and pour the sand out kind of vibe.
You told me to watch it. You said if you want to see a lot of shirtless, sweaty 70s
Gross.
era.
I said gross. I added the
men.
word gross in there because it's not meant to be appealing.
Oh, I read it very appealingly.
The person shirtless the most is Donald Pleasance, who's awesome in this movie.
I didn't realize he was in this. Oh, okay.
Who did you think you were talking to?
Sweaty
So-
jerky's right up Justine's alley.
Sweaty
I know,
juice.
presented as gross.
Perfect.
It's supposed to be, but
What
our
kind of
main
person
character
am
probably
I?
is your type, I would think.
The
So you
what?
saw the beginning. You saw the beginning. Our main character,
Mhm.
you probably liked him shirtless, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
blonde
he
guy.
was very good looking. He's like 70s. I don't know. If I were to imagine what like a Crocodile Dundee Mick would look like, it's him.
But he's British.
I don't know why
He's
that was so
British and his
funny.
character's British.
But he
You're
looks
like, that's
like
fine. He can pretend.
Oh, you know who he reminded me of? He reminded me of is it Robert Redford in Out of Africa?
Probably because he looks kind of Robert Redford.
He does.
So this director
grew
also
up on that
directed
one.
Weekend at Bernie's, oddly enough, which my friend Optimistic, who's in the chat, told me that.
So random.
It is very random, but this movie is a lot about the animalistic nature of toxic, really intense masculinity in an isolated place. So
Is it like
there's
Deliverance vibe?
kinda, no, I wouldn't say that. No, there
Okay,
is a
continue
male
talking
on
and we'll
male
see how
rape.
similar it is. Okay.
It's not at all as graphic as
It's
Deliverance.
sounding a little deliverancy.
No, the character is on holiday. It's actually a Christmas movie, which we really can't tell except there's some Christmas decorations in the background.
Because
Fun.
Australia has summer and Christmas.
Very oppressive heat, sun. It looks very orange and yellow the whole movie, the whole time. He's going to Sydney on Christmas holiday back home, we assume. He gets stuck in this city called the Yaba, and it's more of a rural place.
I love how Australians word and name things like the
Yeah.
Yaba, which I'm assuming is probably Aboriginal and not really like Australians.
No,
but they
no, no,
also
no.
call
Well,
things like
it's the nickname for the city. I can't remember the full name, but it's the nickname. It's like the end of it.
But I like how they call everything like with an E, like Lori. What else? I can't even think
That's
of them now.
British again.
But
It's
they
okay.
use that. Oh, like a Trekkie, the like something E. Like it's always like a. It sounds like
Trekkie
baby
is
talk.
a Star Trek fan.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. Fine.
up
I will look
Australian
up
slang.
Australian slang.
Lord.
Lord.
Good
Okay.
Lord.
We got the
But it
Barbie,
really-
the footy, the bottle-o, the bush, the chemist,
The Bobby.
I've heard the
the
bush.
servo, the Straya, the whoop
The
whoop.
servo?
We have what's the John Dory? Do the Harry,
Alright.
Leo, Defo, Benzer, Stubby
Is
Holder,
that okay?
Ooh, that's
These don't have E's at
Berkey,
the end.
Berkey, the Brecky, and the Barbie.
Brekkie is breakfast.
Well,
That's also British.
We
I
have
say
the
we say that in
Dinkum,
Canada for sure.
Yonks, Noggin, Drongo,
Noggin,
Furphy,
I know.
Furphy.
What's a furphy?
That's a rumor. Don't you hear that
Okay.
Furphy about Crystal last weeky?
Did you hear that furphy that a
Man, I'm
turkey and a
scared.
Furby made it and had a baby? That's what it
Iffies,
sounds like to me.
Bonzer,
Ooh, y'all's punching bag.
Uru. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
Back on track.
He gets stuck at the Yaba and he loses all his money gambling, but it seems like he's entered his own purgatory or version of hell and his humanity just slips away. Highly recommend the movie. It's very much a vibe. The full on SA scene that happens between two men, we don't see it. We don't see any kissing, nothing like that. And we don't really see these characters as that's something that's going to happen, except in the moment. But it is still shot in a way that is intense, scary, and then afterwards, we know what happened. We know both characters because they both are really drunk at the time. We know they both remember, and it's probably the best way I've seen that done, where it's intense, but it's not gratuitous. But that being said, there is a very gratuitous kangaroo hunting scene. The thing about the kangaroo hunting scene is that the director got connected with the RSPCA and they wanted to show how bad the kangaroo hunting was, where they get them for pelts and dog food. And they wanted to show how bad it is, and so they wanted to have it on this film. So there are real kangaroo deaths on scene of a hunting crew that was out, and it is rough. It is haunting. It's at night.
That's
They
why I
only have
haven't
the
watched
headlights.
Cannibal Holocaust because of the animal cruelty.
They do eat the animals, but the possum one is especially bad. But I'm not justifying it. I'm not, because I don't like it either. I think that's part of the roughness of Wake and Fright. I highly recommend it. Donald Pleasance scares the shit out of me in this movie. Probably anybody that is in here knows Donald Pleasance, who is funky, and the best people will know that reference. He plays Dr. Loomis in Halloween. He plays is it Blofeld or Blofeld, that famous blonde villain with who Dr. Evil's based off of?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, he plays one of the most famous
Sorry.
Bond villains of all time. That Christoph Waltz plays the same character in the remake. And I recommend Wake and Fright. I talked about it for quite a long time, but I think you both would like it. The reason I didn't push is because it's something you have to be in the mood for, but I do think you
Yeah.
both would like it. It's slow paced, but for good reason, but you have to be in a certain space.
If you liked our channel, if you liked what we talked about today, make sure you hit that like button, that comments section, subscribe, click on all the thingies in the description because we have things like Discord. If you're a patron, you can support our channel and help us grow and get some bonus content, whether it's bonus episodes, early access. What else do we want to plug? If you're watching this on YouTube, we do this live behind the scenes filming on Twitch, so make sure that you subscribe to our Twitch channel. Make sure you subscribe to our Twitch.
And sea shanties.
So that you can watch us live being silly and trying to film these seriously. And like I said, if you're a patron, you'll get access to movie nights and you'll also get access to bonus episodes and you'll get access to merch. We have loyalty merch that's going out to our patrons. So check that out. Bye-bye.
Hi guys, thank you so much. Bye.